Super Bowl wins are more often than not carved with defensive muscle. And our next guest was a big part of a championship defense that was loaded with superstars. Simeon Rice joined Warren Sapp, Derrick Brooks, John Lynch, and others in Tampa Bay to lead the Bucs to a win in Super Bowl 37 over the Oakland Raiders. Sim had a pair of sacks in that Super Bowl. He finished his career with 122 sacks. That is good enough for 13th on the NFL's all-time sack list. And Simeon Rice joins us on ESPN First Take now. Sim, great to see you again. Let's talk a little bit about the defense, which is always such a big part of the Super Bowl. How would you compare your Bucs defense to some of the greatest defenses that we've ever seen?
I wouldn't compare it. I think if I had to, if you was twisting my arm, to me it's in the top 5 easy in the top 5 by dominance, by player for player, down for down, what we did. Our defense was an offense. So when you have a defense that good, that can not only go in there and stop teams, but put up points, we were really heavily relied on our defense for putting touchdowns and scores on the board. So it really worked out for us. There's not many defenses like that. I think the closest defense that really scored like that was my beloved Chicago Bears, the city I grew up in. But we were really a force on defense, and I think from a defensive standpoint, we were so good defensively, we were on offense.
Yeah, that's well said. We saw
we
in the
were
Super
our
Bowl,
second
too.
offense.
You guys scored plenty of points in the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did. We scored a lot of big points. I mean, they came from everywhere. Brooks scored a point. White scored a point. I scored a point in my head.
You always scored points in your head.
We were all out there
Sam.
doing our thing. You know what? We was taking points off the board, which was very important. It was essential for what we had to do, because when we started the game, we started out backed up. So we coming out in the game to take points off the board and put up 0 early was big for us.
If you had to pick right now, Sim, between either Clay Matthews or James Harrison, which of the two would you take?
That's tough, you know, because one has been doing it for 2-3 years now, which is solid, which is Harrison, and Matthew is just coming on really strong. That's a tough choice, but this year I'm gonna have to go with the new hotness down in Green Bay and Appleton that's doing this thing. I'm gonna have to go with Matthews. He's doing this thing, and that's no knock to what Harrison's doing, but Matthews is just surging right now, and to be that dominant every game in the playoff kind of quite remind me of myself, so I'm going to have to go with him, definitely that.
Hey, you're familiar.
To be dominant every game, definitely that.
Sim, you're very familiar with Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin from his time when he was with the secondary, secondary coach back with the Bucs. What was Mike like back then? Mike
was cool, man. Mike was a visionary. Mike was was an unwavering type of person. He was a lot of poise, a lot of toughness, very tough mindset, a man's mindset, a player's player. I mean, you love to play for him. You love what he brought in front of a group of men in terms of his attitude. It's the type of attitude that you want to go into a game with. I mean, he's not going to be rattled by what's going on. He doesn't get distracted by the media, the circumstances of themselves being in the Super Bowl. He's going to flourish under these circumstances and have those guys mentally ready. He's a guy that's, when the game is on the line, mentally he's so prepared. So no matter what happens, much like the situation when they came out and played the Ravens was down a bit, I told everyone at that point what happened at halftime. I wasn't there, but I know Mike, and I'm telling you, he probably had a halftime speech and got those guys mentally ready at that halftime point. So when they came out in that second half, they were surging. And from a distant point of view, you can feel the surge, especially when you know a guy like Mike Tomlin.
Sim, what advice would you give the players before Media Day tomorrow?
My advice is enjoy it. Enjoy it. Me, myself, when I went out, I never allow any aspect of anything that go on during this big week to distract me. It was just, to me, a game that someone has to step forth and create a dominant aspect on the field and really show who they are. My mentality going to the Super Bowl was, this is my time to showcase who I am and what I'm about to the free world. And I was going to do that through hell or high water. And I had a platform with millions and millions and multitudes of millions of people watching me. So you know what? I like to show out. You know my style. So that's definitely what I was about. So my advice was with the players is don't get distracted by all the events and all the hoopla of the Super Bowl, but really put everything in order. Put their situations in order, so you kind of have a really good mind's eye of what you're about to embark on.